Today we're going to paint a moon in Startmobile. So I kind of laid it out how it's going to end up looking a little bit. So we're going to connect the moon and the stars with a little string, and then you'll have a little string which you could hang your project with. Since it's a mobile and it's going to be hanging, dangling, you're going to paint both sides of both the moon and the stars. So you have a blue paint, white paint, and you have gold. I have yellow, but you guys have gold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the moon blue, and then I'm going to do my stars yellow or gold. But you guys could do whatever you'd like. These are just craft paints, acrylic paint, so you could use, if you have other paint at home that you want to use, you could go for that. So I'm going to start with doing my stars because I'm going to keep them basic, just do them one color right now. I'm going to do them on the front a coat, let it dry, probably paint my moon, and then come back to my stars. I'm going to use my big brush too because I am just painting them one color. They don't have to be crazy. So for my moon, I'm going to try and make it, I want to make it look like the moon, like have craters and everything, but I'm going to make it blue. So I am going to take, you could take the lid of one of your paints, and I am just going to mix some white with a little bit of blue, making enough that I'm going to be able to cover the front and back. So once I have that paint, I'm just going to start painting that. I did my first coat on that moon, and since it's like a navy color, it almost appears gray. It's like a bluish gray. So what I'm going to do now is I use my big brush to paint it. I'm only going to do one coat because I'm going to try and add some texture to this now. I like to add the texture while it's still a little wet. So all I'm going to do is with my little brush, I'm going to put a few dots of like that navy paint, and then I'm going to use my finger. You could also use, if you don't want to use your finger, you could take a little piece of paper towel and you could just dab that a little. So it's just adding a little texture, making it look like craters a bit. If you use the paper towel, it takes off more paint. So as I'm doing this, I'm going to add just a few more dots in various places. So it gives that like a kind of texture. And I'm going to wash my little brush, and I'm going to do the same thing with some white. So I'm going to put some white dots in various places, and then I'm just going to use my finger or a paper towel and dab a bit. Moon is not smooth, it's pretty rocky, so I'm just trying to add different textures. And you could keep on like layering textures, adding more dark dots, more light dots, as you go, and if you want to cover up some spaces. Add some dark over here. All right, but I kind of like how that looks. It gives it a little texture, makes it a little interesting. I'm gonna let that dry, and then I'm gonna come back and put another coat on that, but I'm gonna do my stars next. You wanna wait until your stars are dry and can be flipped over. I'm gonna wait another minute, and then I'll come back and do these stars. Okay, so I covered both the back and the front of the stars and the moon. What I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna add a little detail to the stars. So I'm gonna put on my bigger brush, I'm gonna put a little bit of white and then take some off on a paper towel. And just along the edges of that star, I'm just gonna put a little white. This looks really good with the gold too. I'm going to do that on each of the stars. I'm only going to do one side because I want this to dry eventually, so I could show you how to put it together. And a little pink goes a long way. If you put too much white on it, you just put a little more yellow on top of it to cover it. So I'm gonna let that all dry. And then I'm gonna come back with my string and a scissor and we're gonna put it together. So when all the pieces are dry, we can start putting everything together. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting a string on each of the stars. So I am just going to cut, you're gonna need a scissor for this part. I'm just gonna cut my string just a bit, then put it through the hole of the star. And then I'm going to tie a little knot. You might need your parents for assistance. Tie a little knot, and the hole is pretty small on that star, so just one single knot will do. Then, so once they all have strings, we're going to put them at all different heights. So I'm going to take my string, I am going to put it through the hole, and then I'm going to put the one on the left and the right pretty high. And then I'm going to make that middle one just a little bit longer. So once I put it on, I'm just going to make a little knot to tie them. Whatever works best for you. You might have to double knot it. and then cut the excess. And I'm going to do that on each of them. Cut it 1, 2, and then cut. One, 2, cut. And so I have my stars hanging down. It's kind of hard to show on the camera. And then the last thing you're going to do is just cut a nice size string, loop it towards the top, and then pull it halfway through and then knot it. Single knot and trim. And there you have all your pieces are dry, so your little hanging mobile is ready. So I hope you guys had fun making this mobile with me, and have a great start of spring.